Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Amrit here. I'm the registered migration agent at Aussizz Migration, Collins Street. I will be doing a live session today on parent visas. I have seen a lot of my clients are really curious into this topic, so I thought, why not share a video based on the parents. Please feel free to share and comment, because if this scenario is not applicable to you, it might be to your friends and families. So share it as much as you can and leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them all at the end of the video. So let's get started. The first thing that I wanted to put in here is the government is really keen on having all the parents in Australia to help their Australian families who are currently living here and contributing to the economy of Australia. Now, in terms of the parent visas, we have a lot of categories. We have around 4 different categories, going from the cheapest one to the most expensive one. So how I will put down in this video is I will try to explain each and every step to you. I will try to put in the first one, which is going to be the cheapest one, which is a visitor visa, very much known. A lot of people apply for it for their parents. Parents come here for 3 years. And then the next one I would put in as in the contributory, non-contributory, aged, non-aged parent visas. And then the last one, the basic, which is the new visa, the temporary sponsored parent visa, 870, which has just recently been introduced to the department. I will be talking about that in more detail because I do get a lot of inquiries on that basis. All right, let's start with the visitor visa. The very basic one, the cheapest one you can think of, is it costs $141 for a visa application. And then your parents can come here and stay over a period of 3 years, depending on what are the conditions of the visa. So if you do a medical assessment done and then they get the visa, so the visa will be based on an 18-month condition where they can stay here continuously for 12 months. And then for next 6 months, they have to go live outside of Australia, and then they can come back again and again live for 12 months. And again 6 months country out, and then again 12 months. So that's how it is divided into 3 years prospect like that. So let's say, for an example, I would put in as in if your parents got the visa and came into Australia on 1st of January, they can stay here until the 31st of December that year, and then come back, so go offshore and come back to Australia in the 1st of June. And then again stay here until 1 year. The next visa that I wanted to talk briefly about right now is the temporary sponsored parent visa. So this is a new visa. We have only gotten the sponsorship applications ready for them. The visa is about to start on 1st of July 2019. It is a 3-year visa and a 5-year visa. Depending on your situation, your circumstances, you can apply for either of them. The only thing is you have to be an approved parent sponsor to apply for that visa. I can go in detail into that visa a bit later, but that is the okay option for as in price wise right now. And then the most expensive visa that we have is the contributory visa, aged and not aged. So what contributory visa is, that you are paying around $50,000 for each parent to get them permanent residency in Australia. That is quite a lot of money, yes, but if you would like to think it this way, that you are saving a lot on the travel and the health insurance at the later stage. So in the contributory, there are 2 different categories, aged, not aged. with an aged category means your parent is over 65. If they're onshore and then they apply for that visa, they will get a bridging visa to stay in the country until the decision has been made. Now this goes for around 3 to 4 years. So basically, when you're applying for the visa, the first visa application charge that you're paying is around 2 to 3,000 each applicant, and then once the visa will be granted in 4 years' time, you will then be paying the remaining $46,000 at this stage right now, and then they will get the permanent residency. And then there is an assurance of support that you have to pay to the department of the Centrelink. It's around $10,000 for the main applicant and $4,000 for the secondary applicant. Now that is a bond money that you're giving to Centrelink because they don't want the parent to go as a burden on the Australian health system or public system. So that is the bond that you're giving to them for 10 years, and it will all be returned back to you after 10 years with interest. And then again, the non-contributory of the subclass would be again aged and non-aged, where aged is over 65, you get a bridging visa, and non-aged is under 65, you don't get a bridging visa. But with non-contributory, it's not as expensive. It is a bit cheaper option, but the processing time for that visa grant is around 30 years. That is a lot of time. And then if you get a bridging visa, you can stay in Australia, but you will need to have your own health insurance booked in. So you are paying the health insurance cost over the time of 10 to 30 years until the decision has been made. So that does add up into a lot of money. So why not go for a contributory if that is something that you can opt for at this stage? The next visa, the first visa that we spoke about, the temporary sponsored parent visa, that is our main purpose for today. I wanted to tell you exactly everything about the visa. It is based, it is only for Australian citizens, permanent residents, and eligible New Zealand citizens. The reason for getting this visa in place is for those families who do not meet the family test balance. Now you'll ask me, what is a family test balance? Family test balance means the parent has 4 children, let's say, and 3 of them are living offshore in Canada, in India, and anywhere in the world, and 1 of them is an Australian citizen. Now, if that one child wants to ask for that parent to come on a contributory or non-contributory parent visa, he's not allowed to do that because he is not meeting the family test balance. He's the only person here who is the child of that parent. The other 3 children are living offshore overseas. So that is not something that will go for that contributory, non-contributory visa. So let's say that will be applicable in cases where you have 4 siblings again, and then 2 of them are Australian permanent resident and citizen, and 2 are offshore living in Canada or settled in India. Then they're meeting the family test balance. So half of your children has to be Australian permanent or citizen, and then you meet the family test balance. So then those parents can come on a contributory visa and stay in Australia. Now, that's what the reason was to introduce TPSV 870 visa, to help those families who are permanent residents and citizen New Zealand and eligible New Zealand citizens who are still contributing to the economy, but they don't have that privilege to get their parents here on a permanent basis. Well, I know this is not a permanent visa at all. This is a temporary visa. But you get to stay with your parents. You can call your parents here from 3 years to 5 years, and it can go up to 10 years in total period. So that is something that they wanted to put forward for an Australian community. Now in this, like I said, you don't have to meet the family test balance. You don't have to give any assurance of support, any bond amount. bond amount. It's just that you only have to prove a few of the things that they've put in the system, and then you get this visa granted. So for a 3-year visa, the application charge for that is $5,000, and for a 5-year visa, it's $10,000, and you don't have to pay that all up front. So it is a 2-step process. The first step is the sponsorship. You apply for the sponsorship, you get approved to be an eligible sponsor, and then you can call your parents for the visa, and you can apply the visa within the 6 months period of that sponsorship approval, and then you pay the first visa application charge of $1,000 to apply for the visa. Okay, put on all the documentation. Once the case officer is allocated, the case officer will open up your file and will ask you, okay, we're happy to grant you a visa. How about you put the remaining amount in the visa application charge? That's when you pay the $4,000 for a 3-year visa and the $9,000 for a 5-year visa. All right, I'll go in a little bit more detail about this. This visa allows you to bring only one set of parent. So if you and your wife are trying to get both of your parents here, you cannot do that. What you can do is you can either have your mom here and then your wife's dad here, if that is something that you wanted to do. And there are some families who only have one parent in the family, so they can get one parent from this family and then one parent from the other family. So that is quite convenient to do that in this case. The next thing that I wanted to put forward is if you are getting your parents here, if you are getting your parents here or your wife is also getting your parents here, you have to make sure both of you are permanent resident and or Australian citizen or eligible New Zealand citizens. If you are permanent and your wife is on a temporary or a provisional visa, then she will not be able to call her parents on this particular visa. Okay? All right, the next thing that I want to put forward is the eligibility to be a sponsor. You have to make sure there are no adverse informations in the past in your applications. You have to make sure that you have lived in Australia. You have to make sure that you've lived in Australia for at least 4 years or be Australian citizen. If you're permanent resident and you have not lived here for last 4 years, you cannot, you're not eligible to apply for that, okay? The next thing is the family test, the income test. So you have to show that you're capable of getting your parents here and then be there to support them financially for the time of 3 years to 5 years, yeah? So that amount that they have already put forward is as 83,454.80 cents to be precise. Now that is something that you can show as yourself, as your notice of assessment of last year, or you can show your de facto or your partner's notice of assessment income because it's a taxable income. Or you can also show, or anyone who is also the child of that parent can also show that much amount to be able to meet that particular requirement for the visa. Now in this case, like I told you initially, your parents, your partner cannot bring their parents because if they're not permanent resident. But in this case, if you're getting your parents here and you don't have that income threshold, your partner who is on a temporary visa or a provisional visa can put you as the income. So he or she can put their income as a taxable income to meet that criteria for you. Now, if in case still you say, no, we don't meet that criteria, that's a lot of money. So what you will be able to do is you can put it as a combined income of you, your partner, or any one child of that parent who's coming over, who you're sponsoring to bring to Australia. It can be a 3 people combined income. Now, to be able to still ensure that you meet the income requirements, is the main applicant, you being the main parent sponsor, needs to show at least 50% of that income to yourself, and then the other 50% of the 84,000 could be divided with your partner and one child of that parent. Okay, now the next thing that I wanted to put forward is, in case there are any issues with the sponsorship application, you're not approved sponsor, then you don't even pay anything to get the visa application for your parents. So you don't pay the 5,000 or the 10,000 amount. You only pay the $420 for your sponsorship application. Now, the next step with the visa application charge. With the visa application, like I said, it's 2 installments. So once you get it granted, they can stay here for 3 years continuously. They don't have to go out and come back. Of course, you will get multiple travel rights. You can come in and out of the country as many times as you want in those 3 years. But you don't have to go to meet any certain eligibility. So you can stay continuously for 3 years or 5 years in your case. The next thing is this visa application is starting from 1st of July and it is capped. So which means there are only limited seats for this visa application. I've seen a lot of sponsorship applications. People have already applied for it. The processing time at this stage is not something that we know, but it is assumed to be 3 months processing time frame for that particular visa application. Okay, I'll just have a quick look if there's any questions in the video, and then I can get back to the topic again. Okay, great. All right, there's quite a few questions. That's really good. I can answer them all as soon as I can after I finish my session for the day. Now, there's one thing that I really wanted you to think in terms of deciding which one you really wanted to put across. Do you want to do a visitor visa or a parent temporary sponsored visa or a contributory visa? You have to be mindful of the cost. Of course, the cost for a visitor visa is only $141, but look at the cumulative cost over the time. You have so much to pay in terms of health insurance. You have to pay in terms of the ticket. You have to keep going and coming to and fro. And some parents are not able to travel so frequently because of some health issues. So you can think of that, how much you would be paying in total of 3 years time period for a visitor visa. Whereas with a temporary visa, you can just pay like a fraction of amount and still get them here for as long as you can for in the 3 years time frame. And of course, you can renew that visa at any stage. Now, one thing I'm really sorry I forgot to mention, that this temporary visa is an offshore visa. You cannot apply in Australia. It is an offshore visa. However, when you get the visa grant, you could either be in Australia or outside Australia, it doesn't matter. Now, in some cases, you can renew this visa onshore, but it requires a permission to apply the visa onshore. So we can still do that. And then in that circumstances, of course, you will get Bridging A grant. Okay, so we were talking about the cost. So the cost of this visa is you're only maintaining your health insurance. You're not paying so much of the travel tickets. You can stay here for 3 years, enjoy your grandsons and grandchildren. You can all do that. And then if you don't want to stay in the country, or you can, one of the parent wants to go home and then you want another parent to come in, you can always do a change in circumstances in the sponsorship. There is a scope of variation in that. we're happy to do that for you. I can assist you further into this, deciding which one you want to do. I would like to suggest that you book an appointment because each case is different. You can book an appointment, ring our office, or you can ring me. My name is Amrit, so you can ring me on 0404 632 066, and I will go ahead and answer a few of your questions now. Chirag Kumar has asked me that his sister is UK citizen and the other sister is in India, and he's an Australian citizen. Will he be, I'm assuming you're asking, you'll be eligible for which category? You can apply for visitor visa and the temporary stream as well. You do not meet the family test balance as of now with just a little bit of information that I can see in front of you. But I would suggest booking an appointment so I can brief you on your personal cases. Okay. So Jishu has asked, what is the fee for the contributing parent visa for only bringing my mom? So for one parent, the initial fee would be around 2,000 to 3,000 for visa application charge. That's the first installment. The second installment would be, right now it's around 46,000, but that will be before the grant of the visa in 3 to 4 years time. All right, my phone number is 0404 632 066. All right, I think that if there's any other questions that I will get in a bit later, I will be very happy to answer them for you. You can also ring and book an appointment, or you can do a walk-in if you wanted to. We are at 290 Collins Street. My name is Amritpal Kaur. Please feel free to share, like, comment this video, because if this is not applicable to you, there might be a lot of other people who are really keen to bringing their family, their parents here. I think that should be all from me now. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye.